Welcome to Breaking the News Plus on this Friday night. We're going to focus a little bit on prep sports tonight, specifically about something that happened in prep sports yesterday. Joining me tonight is now the former head coach of the Blake Bears, Tyler Biwan. Hi, Tyler. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jana. Thanks for having me.
So, Tyler, you broke the news yesterday on social media that after 10 years at Blake, that you were no longer going to be the head basketball coach. And it landed like a thud in social media because you took your team to the state tournament this year for the first time in 2013. So why are you no longer the coach at Blake?
Yeah, it's a great question, Jana, and something that, I'm still trying to work to get some more concrete feedback around. The feedback that I was given yesterday when meeting with our interim AD and receiving that news was that it came after the postseason evaluation, and that included parent, player, and even feedback from alumni, which really saddened me to hear that, especially the player feedback. At the end of the day, others can think of me what they like, parents and outsiders, but at the end of the day, I always want to be in good standing with our players. So I was really surprised to hear that yesterday and just left that meeting more devastated than I've been, not only in the last 10 years, but even well beyond that. And that was really hard news to take at that time.
Yeah, Coach, you used the term heartbroken, that you poured so much of yourself into that program. And the reactions I've seen so far online are in your favor. Two of your players, one of them, a senior and all-state guard, said this was a horrible decision by Blake. A junior player said he was embarrassed and ashamed to be a Bear right now.
Yeah. And as the day transpired, I got texts and calls and reached out virtually every player in our program, reiterating their support and their love for me and what I've done as a coach, which just really contradicted everything that I had heard in the meeting that morning. So as the day went on, I just felt so uplifted and so supported, hearing that my players still very much appreciated me as their coach and wanted me as their coach.
So how are we, the general public, to make sense of this then? If you say you heard from virtually every player that was supporting you, how does that stack against what you heard in that meeting letting you go that you weren't supported?
Yeah, and that's something, Jana, that I'm trying to still get answers around and would love it. For something that I've poured my heart into for 10 years, candidly, this was the first time that I've even received formal feedback in the last 7 years as a coach at Blake. So to not be given not only the feedback, but then the opportunity to course correct on that feedback, I would absolutely love to receive that feedback and then have the opportunity to action against it and go figure out how I need to tailor my coaching style. But unfortunately, it didn't sound like that was an option for me to be able to take that feedback and act upon it.
So it wasn't even shared with you what you did that was so, in their minds, I guess, wrong that you couldn't fix? You don't even know what it was?
And I asked for it multiple times and asked for as much details as I could get. But unfortunately, at least in that meeting, received mostly vague answers to my continual request.
Wow. A lot of coaches chimed in online too, kind of reigniting a conversation about the difficulty that coaches, especially at the high school level, have, not just in Minnesota, but across this country, about players and or their parents may not be happy with the amount of playing time their kid gets, or this, that, or the other thing. They're being worked too hard, not worked hard enough, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think that there is any part of, players' parents' input coming into what happened to you?
Yeah, I certainly think so, especially with, the response given to me as player, parent, and alumni feedback. I certainly believe that, some parent feedback played a part into that as well. And again, leaving that meeting yesterday morning, just felt really saddened to hear that because, of course, the player feedback is ultimately what matters most to me. But I really value the parent relationships that I have and my staff has within our program. But again, as the day transpired, I'd call it 98% of parents in our program texted, called, emailed, all just sharing their sadness in the news that they had to learn earlier that morning as well.
Does this all seem unfair to you because you weren't given a lot of reason and you are hearing from what you say is 98% of parents and their kids that support you?
Yeah, in my mind, Jana, it certainly does. And I think even winning aside, I know a lot of people have started their backing with, they just went to state and he's a winning coach. For me, I've always just prided myself on how we interact with our players and how we build core values and leadership within our players. And so, to not really have that feedback and then be given the opportunity to act upon it, in my mind at least, it feels very much unfair because of all that I've given for 10 years. And, my plans were always to continue on at Blake. I've had opportunities to go elsewhere. I love this school. I love this community. It's somewhere that I had wanted to coach for as long as I coach.
One of the things that I'm sure that you've thought about and you've probably acted upon is that you're hearing from young men who are disappointed. I shared one of your players said he was embarrassed and ashamed to be a Blake Bear. I mean, how do you continue to mentor and coach them when they're angry and they're emotional, and rightfully so? Obviously, you meant a great deal to them. How do you still lift them up when you're not their coach anymore?
Yeah, a lot of, especially the alum who have been texting me, and I've had, it's funny, the first year that I coached at Blake, we were 10-16, not a great performance. And almost every single player from that team has already reached out to me from 10 years ago, even players who were on the bench that season. And everyone that I'm responding, I'm reiterating, it doesn't matter my job, my title, like I'm still here for you. I still want to help you as a young adult, as you navigate life. Always keep me on speed dial. I am always here for you. And that's always held true with my alum. I've talked to a couple alum this week who are navigating the transfer portal and thinking about college decisions. And I always want my guys to be able to come back to me, whether I'm at Blake or somewhere else or anywhere in between.
In your goodbye social media post, you closed with something that you said you learned from Tubby Smith working at that program at the U, a legendary coach. And that was to leave things a little bit better than when you found them. Do you feel, even though this is a pretty bitter moment, that you did that at Blake?
Absolutely. Yeah, the program we inherited, of course, it went to state in 2013, but it was in a position where it was really struggling to win. I believe a 2-win season and a 5-win season were the 2 wins before we took over. But again, not only the winning record that we've instilled, where we've now have had 7 straight winning seasons coming out of this year, it's just more so what our alumni are able to show. It's the young men that we've been able to help develop as true leaders and seeing them off into the real world. That's very much what makes us proud about where we're leaving this program, is we have so many young men that we feel we've had a really positive impact on in their lives.
Coaching high school sports, as I mentioned a bit ago, is different in 2026 than perhaps it was 25 years ago. So many other factors at play. I'm sure the rewards, being those relationships, are the highest of highs, but there's probably some lows too. What's the biggest challenge, and do any of those challenges, do you think, reflect in what happened to you?
Yeah, and you said 25 years, Jana. Even the last 5 years, it's changed tremendously coming out of the COVID era, just in terms of how we're navigating coaching. I've been clear that, the way I coach, I don't even envision myself as a quote unquote hard coach, but I definitely challenge our guys. I look to push them to the next level, which I feel like we've had a track record of doing. But I tell our players, there's going to be some days where you don't like me and you're going to leave practice and you hate me. But I promise when it's all said and done, you're going to be off in college and you're going to text me, hey, you prepared me for this adversity that I'm facing in life right now, or whatever that might be. As time has transpired, it's been harder to be able to do that real time as a coach. I would say there are certainly some parents now that maybe don't want to see their son be challenged with that adversity in a basketball setting or any athletic setting, right? So to have parents who are still very much in the camp of challenge my son, right? Make him face adversity, have him overcome obstacles now in basketball because they get that further in life. That's what's going to prepare them. That's the joy about coaching, is being able to see that. And I would say that's become more difficult to do in the last 5 to 10 years.
More difficult to present young people with adversity and get support?
Yeah, I would say so. I'd say some parents are certainly more inclined to maybe step in front of that now than they were 5, 10 years ago.
For the players that are upset about this, and it sounds like from your words, quite a few, and there's an online petition to reinstate you, all kinds of things happening in your favor. How are you advising them to move forward? You know, I can imagine some players would be like, I'm not playing for anybody else. What would your advice to them be?
Yeah, I've told all of them. A few reached out right away and say, "Hey, can I voice my opinions of you?" And of course, I think we're in an era where we're learning how important that is to do, is to speak your mind, speak your opinion, do it in the right way, do it in the right venue, which, in my opinion, our guys certainly have been doing that. But then also just continue to be a leader. I've told all my current players that have been texting me, just reminding them how strong of their leadership, how strong their leadership capabilities have been. And, you know, whether I'm here or whether I'm gone, continue to lead with this void as a head coach and an entire coaching staff that's leaving. It's going to be a challenge, but those kids that are going to be in that opportunity now, like some of our returning seniors and juniors, it's a real opportunity to be able to step up their leadership, and that's going to help them further down the road.
If there were a scenario that this online petition changes minds at the Blake school, would you go back?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. If you asked me yesterday around 9 a.m., the answer would have been no. This emotional roller coaster, though, has now led me to realize that a lot of players do still want me to be the coach. And at the end of the day, that's what I really care about. And if the current players want me there, I want to be their coach. And I can overlook any administrator, any decision that came from adults, for me to be able to get back and grasp that. So I'm not sure if that's even in the cards. But if it were to be, that's very much where my mind is at. It's all about my guys. I still call them my guys. They're not former guys to me. If my guys wanted me to be the coach, I would still absolutely be their coach.
And lastly, Coach, why do you think such a large reaction to your departure? What is it about you and this departure that is hitting a nerve with coaches across Minnesota?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I honestly had zero anticipation or expectation of how much it has taken off. And it has meant the world to me, to see people from so many different perspectives have my back. Of course, fellow Minnesota head coaches, but coaches that we knocked out of sections are speaking positively about us. Coaches who are rivals of ours are calling me and speaking positively. So just to see how tight knit this Minnesota high school basketball coaches fraternity is, it means a lot. And I think as a coaching fraternity, we're tired of seeing what we believe to be good coaches ran out. And especially the ones who have dedicated 5, 10, 15 plus years to programs to build it where they are, to see these decisions being made quickly, it's really becoming frustrating, I believe, for many coaches in the state.
Yeah, well, that's certainly being the sense online. Coach Tyler Biwan, thank you for joining us and talking about this candidly. I know it's not easy. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Jen. Appreciate it.
You bet. That's all for Breaking the News Plus on this Friday night.